ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app. From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
From all around the globe, this is East Coast Sports Investors Closing Bell for Wednesday, December 20th. I am your solo host for the evening, Riley Magnuson. Ready to rock and roll, get you ready for everything. Mostly basketball on this fine Wednesday evening. Pretty good slate of NBA and college basketball coming your way. We had a few 2-3 nice games last night in college basketball. Couple nice looks, 3-4 games I think it was in NBA. Not the easiest night to look at. Some nice thoughts, some ugly thoughts for sure. But we've got a big slate tonight in both NBA and college basketball. So really good college basketball games. If you're itching to get some good action, tonight is the night for as far as quality action. Quality games. This is the night for college basketball, in my opinion. There, last night, as I mentioned, just to go back a little bit, I know the Warriors got the win there. That Memphis and Pelicans game, John Morant buzzer beater in his return there. I think it leaned maybe Pelicans, but again, I was pretty adamant as far as staying away from the debut there. Was leaning towards the over on the total. That one finished right at 228, so right around there. Went over on the Bucks and the Spurs. The Warriors win, as I said there, and then the Blazers actually get the upset over the Suns. So kind of lean that way as well there. As far as college basketball, only one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head from last night was that Marquette-Providence game. Lean towards Providence, was staying away from it, but lean towards Providence, and that one came to fruition there. Was wrong about the over-under barely in the Virginia-Memphis game. That did just stay under, but that's Virginia putting up 54, getting the doors beat off of them there. And then I actually am drawing a blank on what happened in the Butler-Georgetown game. Butler wins by exactly 10 on the 10.5-point spread. So I think, maybe thought it was leaning towards it being a little closer, but I do believe I said that one was a little inflated towards Butler's way there. So if you didn't catch it early, you missed out on a better number there for Butler in the 10.5. So decent night of Big East ball last night. But as I mentioned, a big night of a lot of different college basketball situations here tonight. We can hop right into it. As I usually say, this is going to be short and sweet. Going back over to the Big East tonight, I want to say this is the one of two main Big East games worth watching tonight. UConn on the road against Seton Hall tonight in Newark, New Jersey there for Seton Hall. UConn 8.5-point favorites here at home. On the road here. This one is the 6 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock East Coast time tip. And obviously UConn 10-1. That one lone loss in the very, very solid game against Kansas on the road there. Couldn't get that win. But now up against a Seton Hall team that's 7-4, not blowing the doors off of anybody, but also a team that is no slouch by any means. Their last two games, get a nice win over Missouri a few days ago. I want to say Sunday. A couple of losses earlier in this month to Baylor and Rutgers. Certainly nothing to shake a stick at there. And then losses early in the year to USC and Iowa. Iowa, obviously, a team that we talk about a lot with my Big Ten ties there, as a team that obviously is a big question mark hot or cold there. So ran into them on a hot day there. But again, Seton Hall, not sure what what the ceiling for this team is this season. But again, a team that I don't think you should be surprised to be pulling off a nice upset or two at home here. Would have to build a nice resume to get into that tournament. Could possibly be an NIT team. But tonight obviously is a big one if you're trying to build that resume. In my opinion, this 8.5 here, it's actually right in the middle of where. So last year at Seton Hall in January, Seton Hall wins that one as 5.5-point dogs. At UConn, 11.5-point dogs. So now we're right in the middle there. And now, even still, in my opinion, this one kind of is a Seton Hall number. I do think UConn takes care of business here, but I kind of lean towards this one being closer than the 8.5-point game there. And Seton Hall finding a way to cover. I'm seeing a lot of is a pretty public side for UConn being 10-1 here. Seton Hall 7-4. Kind of looking more so at the record as opposed to they lost to 3, if not 4, pretty damn solid teams here in college basketball. Seton Hall has so. Kind of similar to what we saw in the Providence Marquette game. If you had Providence last night, maybe you take your money with the home underdog and run. But at the end of the day, I think you could see a similar situation where they're looking to make a big statement here at home to open things up. I assume this is the first conference game for them, so open things up in conference at home here. They're going to put they're going to be coming for UConn's neck, obviously there. So if UConn's not ready at all, Seton Hall might win this game, much like Providence did last night. But I will lean towards UConn winning, but not covering. And Seton Hall stays within the 8.5 there. You've got UConn coming off of 3 wins, two of them, 2 ranked teams. So to have this one at single digits still felt like it was, not as high as it should be if I was to respect UConn in this situation here. Obviously, the biggest trip they made at Kansas, they lose. That was obviously a very good game, but nonetheless, does seem like a Seton Hall number to me so far here. Another good one, this one on the East Coast, I believe neutral site. This one's at Madison Square Garden. Baylor and Duke, 2 very good teams, obviously. Per the AP, 10 for Baylor, 21 for Duke. Per our friends at KenPom, Duke is number 10 and Baylor is number 13, actually. But Duke getting the love with the Madison Square Garden, typically another a de facto second home, like a few teams can call. And the East Coast closer to a home game for them, going to be much more Duke fans than there are Baylor fans. So I'm a little torn on this one because on one hand you would think the team with 7-3 record, I mean it's that 9-1 team. But this one might be a little stinky. It does still seem like somehow Duke is kind of a public. I shouldn't say somehow because it's Duke, but Duke is still fairly a public side to a decent degree from what I see. So I'm almost kind of pumping the brakes on at least thinking that this is inflated toward Duke a little bit here. So I'm not too interested in it. I think you missed a better number if you're interested in Duke. This one was down at 1.5. I think last night, if I'm not mistaken, at open there. So you kind of missed a better number if you're interested in Duke here. And this Baylor team is really damn good. So this is going to be a good game. You have Baylor coming off of a loss against Michigan State, who's starting to turn things around a little bit here. Duke, after a couple losses, gets a couple of easy 16.5, 15.5 point covers at home. Charlotte and Hofstra, I want to say that is. So now, getting a little bit too much love in my opinion. I think this one is going to be a good game. I do think it could be a coin flip, but just kind of saying that I think it's a little inflated there towards Duke, as it typically is in a lot of cases there for Duke. Another team in that ACC, this time, this one is a neutral site. They are the road team technically per the listing here, but this one is North Carolina, Oklahoma. Another good game. I said neutral site, but it is in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Spectrum Center, home of the Hornets. So it's going to be obviously a home environment for the Tar Heels here. They, because of that, and many reasons, is a similar situation. Even more so, they are a favorite, 2.5, 3.5 point favorites. Oklahoma undefeated still. So to see them, this one a little bit different case. To see Oklahoma as undefeated, as that underdog. I want to say it's inflated with UNC being the de facto home team here in Charlotte, but they're coming off of a couple of losses as a favorite here. Both of those obviously slouch games, losing to UConn and Kentucky here this last week and a half or so. But they had been piling up some nice wins, obviously. So I'm not sold on. I'm kind of torn this one because I'm not really sold on this UNC team. At the same time, you've got a 10-0 Oklahoma team as underdogs to a 7-3 team. That is a little fishy in my opinion there. So I by that measure, I am kind of leaning towards UNC. But at the end of the day, I looking, maybe you shouldn't be pairing these two up, but I kind of see UNC and Duke, these games with those, two games right there. One of those two teams, UNC or Duke, is going to win. One of them is going to have an ugly showing here. So I'm leaning towards it being Baylor having a nice showing and beating Duke, and UNC having a nice showing and giving Oklahoma its first loss here. But again, I'm not totally sold on this UNC team yet. Need to tonight would obviously be a big win for him there. So pumping the brakes on that one, but at least have to acknowledge that it does seem fishy that a 10-0 team is underdogs in this situation here. Moving on the list, Gonzaga's got a home game against 26.5-point favorites. Nothing too crazy there. Creighton and Villanova, the other Big East game. Creighton 8.5, 9.5-point favorites. Villanova 7-4. They get a win against UCLA over a week ago, I think a week and a half ago, after a kind of an ugly 3-game losing streak. Lose as 12 and 11-point favorites to St. Joe's and Drexel, excuse me. And lose as 2.5-point favorites to K-State there. Then they bounce back with that win against UCLA. Creighton, 9-2. I'm drawing a blank on what their first loss was, but they lose recently to UNLV. Bounce back with a nice win at either at home or a neutral site against Alabama this past weekend, 85-82. Don't cover that game. So now to see this one back up at 8.5, 9.5 does kind of feel like a nice little statement towards Creighton here at home. Villanova should be giving them a good, a good look and a good, that motivation there as well. But I think Creighton being at home here, a couple losses under their belt. They're not. I don't think they're too fat and happy in this one coming into this one. So I kind of respect that Creighton line, the 8.5, 9. Again, though, I do think it is one where it has risen. So another one where if you wanted Creighton, you kind of missed the better number, so it is a little inflated now. But I still do respect Creighton in the spot here. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of pumped the brakes. But I will lean towards Creighton, if not winning, covering in this game against Villanova here. So not expecting too much out of Villanova in this game tonight. Last game with a ranked opponent, Alabama and Arizona, actually. 6-4 Alabama, 8-1 Arizona. The 6-4 record of Alabama, not quite the best Alabama team that we've seen lately, but if you look through the schedule, they've played a pretty tough schedule. If not, the toughest, it's got to be one of the toughest, certainly the last few weeks. Lose, I want to say this was a early tournament game. If not, it might have been at Ohio State. Lose to Ohio State. Not the same Ohio State team from last year. I think they're 9-2. Looking a lot better right now. So not a bad loss there. Beat Oregon. Lose to a tough Clemson team. That was not their best loss. I want to say that one was in Alabama. Lose and, depending on the number, cover against Purdue. Nice cover there. No, good showing to keep it close there. Just barely lose this past weekend to Creighton, 85-82, and they cover that one. So to see this one again right at 7.5 with the number 4 team in the country, Arizona, seems like an Alabama number to me. And I think you're going to see another nice fight from Alabama. Again, I like this Alabama team, just not quite the same Alabama team that we've seen in the past as a dark horse team to win the entire, national championship necessarily that they've had a couple times here. But kind of a dark horse team in the SEC that could make some waves a little bit, that despite their record could make some noise and pull off some upsets. Don't know if they win tonight. The other thing to look at here is this insanely high total, 176.5. Both these teams, they've been in the 160s lately. Some of them have been, a lot of them have been going over. Even Arizona 140s, 150s. So this one jumps all the way up to 176. Another one that it does seem as if that's a decent statement towards it going potentially over there. So I'll lean towards this one going over and Alabama covering. But at the end of the day, I do like this Arizona team. It's just this one seems like an Alabama number after what they've been through here. So another one that is technically a neutral site, but it is in Phoenix, Arizona, so obviously a pro-Arizona crowd, but still technically a neutral site, a little bit away from home. But I think Alabama could come in and surprise them a little bit and give them a nice run for the money as they have a couple of these other nice teams there. So that does it for the big games in college basketball. Want to see if there's any other ones to talk about. There's some Big Ten games, but nothing too crazy. Northwestern Arizona State. That one's also at in Phoenix. So 2 games there. This one is the other one there. Before that Alabama-Arizona game. Arizona State, the underdog in this one, 6-4. Obviously I'm the Big Ten guy here, but Northwestern, an ugly loss to Chicago State a week or so ago. Bounced back with I don't want to say a nice win against DePaul. It's not a very good DePaul team, but they win 56-46. So even that one, I think they're probably kind of chalking up as a bad performance, and so looking still for a bounce back, in my opinion. So I'm leaning towards Northwestern, taking care of business. On the road, technically, on a neutral site, certainly going to be a road atmosphere, more so than leaning towards a neutral. So I am going to lean towards Northwestern in that game there. So that'll do it for my thoughts on college basketball tonight. We'll skate over real quick to the NBA. Bad pun, because I'm not the NHL guy and I'm not touching on the NHL. So we'll roll the ball over to the NBA court here tonight. We've got a handful of games. Only a couple that really jumped out to me as some what you might say statement numbers. Miami at Orlando. Orlando minus 5.5 at home here in Orlando. You do, however, have no Jimmy Butler, it looks like. So that number kind of reflects the no Jimmy Butler aspect of it. So honestly, it's one where another one where it seems weird to say without Jimmy Butler. Now that I'm interested in the Heat, but would have respected that number to go a little bit higher without Jimmy Butler and no Kevin Love tonight for Miami. Miami's been playing okay back and forth still, 12-10. Defense for the most part has been playing nicely. Wouldn't surprise me if their defense showed up even without Jimmy Butler here tonight. This total at 219.5, pretty much closer to a Miami Heat total than an Orlando total. They're typically 225 to 230. So I'll go Miami covering, but I think I like the under even more so there. So the other one, Denver and Toronto in Toronto. Toronto 3.5, 4-point favorites to the defending champion Denver Nuggets. Nuggets, we've talked about them. They've been kind of ho-hum in a lot of situations, but they've won 4 of their last 5 here, a few against some decent teams. Toronto, still kind of up and down, a little roller coaster, but this one at the very least, I guess, stuck out to me as a Toronto number against the defending champs. Had some decent success in looking at these numbers with and going against the Nuggets. And a lot of road situations here. So the 3.5 definitely kind of signified to me more of a Toronto number than back in the defending champs at a 9-13 Toronto team. So kind of leaning towards Toronto on that one tonight. Dallas underdogs at home against the Clippers. Still no Kyrie. Dallas offense has been a little ugly, so I'm staying away from that one. Paul George is questionable as well. Clippers are playing actually really, really well. If you haven't been paying attention, their offense put up a couple big numbers last couple. So that's why you're getting the favorite number with Kyrie out. And like I said, there's been a couple games since Kyrie's been gone where this offense has really struggled without him. So not going to make a big statement there or lean there or anything like that. Dallas at home as underdogs still concerns me a little bit, but this Clippers team is playing really well. So I'm going to leave that one away, but at least a good update there. Boston Celtics now, second night of a back-to-back on the West Coast here. They are underdogs at Sacramento, and it looks like you've got no Jason Tatum, no Al Horford. So a tough one to call. I'm not trying to get myself into that one, but you've got like I said, second night of a back-to-back after a loss in Golden State last night. Kings playing really well right now. So I imagine, obviously do your research on who's in and who's out. But I'll lean towards the Kings late in the beam. But obviously with these injuries, you never know what's going to happen and what could flip there. Things typically don't make sense, and things go the opposite way when there's injuries that happen. So let's see. The Bulls at home against the Lakers as 4-point dogs is another one that's kind of tough because, it does seem like it's a Bulls number, but this Bulls team is obviously playing really well right now with the Kobe White train coming in hot. They've since Zach LaVine has gone down, I just looked at it today. I want to say it's 6-3 without Zach LaVine in the last 9 games. Not only without Zach LaVine, but Kobe White immediately making a massive impact there. And that's pretty against a pretty damn good stretch of opponents as well. Not to toot my Bulls horn here, Let's see, where is that going back to? Win against Milwaukee without Levine, win against a tough Pelican squad, a couple of wins over bad teams, Charlotte and San Antonio. Overtime loss to the Bucks, lose to the Nuggets, split on the road in Miami with them, and then a couple nights ago win in Philly, which has been a nightmare location for the Bulls the last 2-3 years. So this Bulls team is obviously playing a lot better. So I am hesitant on it. Without all the circumstances I just laid out, I would say this is a Bulls number. Now, with the way the Bulls are playing, and actually the Lakers have not covered any of their last 4 games here, a couple of them being in San Antonio there. One of them, the streak-busting win for the Spurs, loss for the Lakers there, and then turn around and lose at home to the Knicks a couple nights ago. So like I said, I don't know which way to lean on this one. I'll lean towards my Bulls, keeping this one close. But again, I think people are starting to buy the Kobe White and the Bulls train here as they have been improved without him. So I'll stay away from it. I'll root for my Bulls, obviously, but at least be aware of that one. Don't fire away too heavily on either team there. I think that's a tough one to call. And aside from that, I didn't have too many strong thoughts. Cleveland at home against Utah actually is another one that's real stinky. But you've got questionable Donovan Mitchell. That's one of those ones where if he's out, that makes a lot of sense, and even still kind of a fishy line. But if he's playing and we're still at 4.5, then that is a Utah Jazz number for sure there, and should be taken buyer beware on the Cavs. But another one, and I say that because if it doesn't move and it's at 4.5, then that's a 7-15 team playing a mostly healthy 13-9 Cavs. I shouldn't say mostly healthy; they're a little banged up, but you know what I mean. At home for a playoff team in the Cavs up against a bad team that is turning things around at least this last week or so, but still, that one is one that is fishy. Definitely take the Cavs with a grain of salt tonight. That is the one that is also sticking out to me as well. All right, so about 23 minutes in, we are going to go ahead and move on from this show here, my friends. No bowl games tonight. There is one tomorrow, South Florida and Syracuse. There's an NFL game tomorrow night, the Saints and the Rams. Big one for the barn burner that is the NFC playoff race there. And then I imagine there's some NBA games as well. So we will be back tomorrow evening to break everything down for Thursday night. I believe we will have there will be some shows on Friday as well, and I think Jeff and I will be doing a Saturday morning special pop-up show in replace of what our usually Friday shows are, but also getting ready for NFL bowl games and plenty of other things for a nice 4-day stretch that will probably be dark. So stay tuned for all of that. Make sure to keep your alerts on for the ECSI networks and airwaves, and as always, if you have not downloaded the Fine Wager Wire app, go do so. I know, again, yesterday morning, Jeff talked with Travis Geiger of Wager Talk. Definitely want to check that out. They talk most, if not all, Tuesday mornings, I do believe, there. So definitely go and check those shows out, as well as Wager Wire themselves. Some fantastic people over there that are going to give you some great opportunities in the sports gambling space, as well as sports investment space there. So without further ado, I will go ahead and get on out of here, my friends. Hope you all enjoy your fine Wednesday evening. Have some good luck tonight. And enjoy some good basketball, because it appears we're going to have some good games tonight. So best of luck tonight. I will see y'all tomorrow.